What is up, guys? I'm finally back with another video. This offseason has been a bitch. I mean, it's so long before October actually arrives, so I'm gonna try to make the way a little bit easier for you guys by making a series of video leading up to October 4th. Are you guys ready? So the first video, I'll go quickly to my standing prediction for next year. Now keep in mind, I'll make 31 videos, one for every team after this video. So if that's something that might interest you, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything out. Without further ado, let's jump right in. So let's go quickly through the Atlantic division. I'll give you my 1 to 8 really quick, and I'll talk about a few teams. I think Tampa Bay is gonna win the division. I know, pretty rare for a team that didn't make the playoff to win their division next year, but Tampa Bay is too good of a team if Stamkos can stay healthy for full, let's say at least 70 few games. And actually, I feel like I'm looking at the Atlantic right now, and they can actually win it. At number 2, we have the Ottawa Senators. I feel like a good little team, same core as last year, the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. They're gonna finish second. At number 3, we have the Montreal Canadiens, where I feel like they depend heavily on Carey Price, especially that our defense didn't get any better this offseason, but our offense did with Drouin. So I think that we can score more goals, but Price needs to step up his game if that's somehow possible to carry us in the playoff. And if he gets hurt, Montreal is in bad shape. And number 4, which I believe is the last team that is going to make the playoffs in this division, are the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, I feel like playing your second season is definitely not as easy as having the thrill and the energy of playing your first season. So I think that that's going to be the biggest challenge for the Leafs next year. Marleau can definitely help. I see this team making a playoff again. Now at number 5 and at number 6, I've put those teams in yellow, as you can see, because I feel like those are the teams that are not very far from making a playoff. And depending on if a team can stay healthy in that top 4, they can definitely snatch that playoff spot very easy. I feel like those are the teams that are going to be a few points short of the playoffs, so look out for them. Boston and Florida, I feel like they have a pretty good core. Huberdeau LT all year with Barkov is definitely going to help the Panthers next year. Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak be as good as last year, be that dominant 5v5 line. I think they can. It's just going to be a matter of depth. Do they have enough depth to make it the postseason? I don't think so. Now, at number 7 and number 8, I got Buffalo and Detroit. I like Buffalo. I like the core of that team. They still need to work and they still need to learn to make it the postseason. And Detroit, I just feel like they need to go through a proper rebuild. Zetterberg, Cronwell, not getting any younger, so that's why I feel like they need to rebuild. All right, now going in the other division in the East, the Metropolitan division. One of the best, if not the best division in the National Hockey League. Again, for some reason, I only see 4 teams, but I could very well see 5 teams making the playoff from the Metro. Again, 4 teams in green, 2 teams in yellow, and 2 teams in red. Same thing as the Atlantic. Let's go over this quickly. Back-to-back Cup champion Pittsburgh needs to be number 1. I feel like that's just the respect they've earned. They find ways to win games in the season that I can't understand how. I like Murray finally being a true number 1. I still think this is the best team in the Metro. Look out for Columbus adding Panarin. I really like that core, so look out. I said this is a 100+ point team for sure, and they can strike Pittsburgh at any time if one of those 3 guys is not healthy for a long period of time. Washington Capitals, I feel like they're gonna drop and not win the President Trophy this year. They lost a few guys. I think that Pittsburgh and Columbus might edge Washington in terms of points. There's not going to be a huge gap, so that's why I put Washington 3rd. I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel right now. Now, I believe the last team that's going to snatch a playoff spot are the New York Rangers. Again, adding Shattenkirk is huge, can relieve some pressure of McDonough. I feel like the biggest question is how good is going to be Lundqvist next year, and if the King can actually get his magic going, then I wouldn't be surprised if they actually move a little bit. But the Carolina Hurricanes are doing such a great job in rebuilding, adding some experienced guys like Justin Williams, Kruger, Van Riemsdyk, that Darling as a number 1. I feel like that is going to work. Can that young forward and young defensive core manage to push this team to the playoff? What they're doing, I like this team. I like the young guys they have. And I wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams, even the Leafs, if they're not able to make that playoff and build on their success, I feel like Carolina is definitely the number 9 team right now and can snatch a playoff spots at any time. Now the Flyers, I feel like if Giroux and Voracek and Ghost can all have a great season, Provorov build on that great season, can Travis St. actually help that decor? If all those planets align and they can get great goaltending, then I feel like the Flyers can fight for a playoff spot. If not, they're still in the 9 to 12 range right now. And can Nolan Patrick can actually help this team in a year or 2 make it back to the postseason? I think so. This year, I don't. Now, two teams that are still in the rebuilding phase, or I don't know what the Islanders are doing, but I know the Devils are rebuilding. The Islanders, I don't know. I think Tavares and Eberle can work. It's not enough to put this team back in the postseason. And as for the Devils, I mean, they just need to play Zaka, play Isher, play Santini, all those young guys to make sure that they gain experience and maybe in a few years strike for a playoff spot. Alright, so that's it for the East. Now let's move on to the West. Alright, so moving on, let's start with the Central Division. Again, a really strong division, which I believe can compete with the Metro for the best division in the league right now. So let's go over this ranking. I think 5 teams from the Central are going to make the playoff. As you can see, 5 teams in green, 1 team in yellow, and 1 team found another color from Colorado. Alright, so let's start with the number 1 spot, the Minnesota Wild. I really like this team. They have one of the best forward core in the National Hockey League. I like Granlund, I like Nino, I like those guys. I like what they did last year. I like their D-core, I like their forward core, and I think Devin Dubnyk can definitely be good enough to carry this team to the number 1 spot, which is not going to be easy in the Central Division. Alright, now I believe this race for the 2nd spot in the Central Division is going to be really, really intense. I mean, I have Nashville, St. Louis, and Chicago right now as 2, 3, and 4. But I just feel like you can say this in any order and it's going to make sense. So let's just keep it that way and talk. I mean, Nashville, the best defensive core in the league. I feel like Rene can be good enough next year to make this team such a great team and again fight for a cup next year again. But just the best D-core in the league. I feel like Fiala can step up. They got Bonino. Definitely a top 3 team in the Central for sure. Now, I've put St. Louis at the number 3 spot for a few reasons. I like a lot the addition of Brendan Shen to that forward core. And of course, I feel like we saw Pietrangelo and Perico step up so big time when they traded to Shattenkirk last year. I want to see more. And Allen, we've seen some magic from this guy last year. I want to see it again. So that's why I have St. Louis at number 3 right now and Chicago at number 4. I'm not so sure about that Panarin trade for Sa. It just, you look at the Central and that top 5 is just nice. So at number 5, finally, a team that did, I believe, the best team in the offseason this year was the Dallas Stars. Adding Method, adding Radulov, adding Bishop, the 3 big additions this offseason is going to help them big time. And I don't see this team not making the playoff. I just don't. So that's why I have Winnipeg and Yellow again. If they can get great goaltending from that new goalie Mason, I mean, that forward core and that D core is actually pretty decent. And if a team is affected by injury in that top 5, I could see Winnipeg striking. Otherwise, I see them finishing at that 9 to 11 range. And Colorado, well, it's Colorado. I don't even know what to say. If you make it that far, thank you very much. I know I love talking about hockey. Sometimes I get caught up in the middle of things. But again, remember, if you want to see me talk in depth about a team, I'll make 31 videos coming up. One about every single team, so stay tuned for that. Now, alright, last division, number 1 spot. Again, I only see 3 teams making the playoffs as right now. But that number 4 and that number 5, as you can see, LA and San Jose can strike at any time. I just think that their core is aging, so that's why I put them at 4 and 5. But this is definitely number 9 and number 10 in the division. So look, at number 1, Edmonton Oilers. Talbot played great, Draisaitl played great, McDavid played great, Clefbaum finished great. I feel like it can build off on that. A really good team. I mean, when you got McDavid, it helps a lot, but I just feel like I like the addition of Strome in that team, so I just like this team a lot, and I feel like they're going to be on the top of the Pacific Division for the next 10-15 years, so look out. At number 2, the Anaheim Ducks. Again, another team that their core is not necessarily young, but they're still that good to fight to be number 1 in the Pacific. You look at that forward core, it's just big, huge, nasty forward core. And I look at that defense and it can actually do some damage. It's a question of how that defense can stay healthy, how Gibson is going to play in net. But I just see them in the top 3 and making the playoff for sure. Now, the third team, and again, an absolute beast of a defensive core. New goalies in Calgary. And I believe it's going to work. I believe they're going to make the playoffs. I feel like Goodrow and Monahan can get off a quicker start this season. And that's going to help them actually take a top 3 spot, holding on to it, and just building that chemistry up to maybe not get sweep in the playoff, but that's another topic. I just like that core. I like that team. Definitely a playoff team. Now let's talk about LA real quick. If Quick can stay healthy, bunch of questions facing the Kings. I don't see them making the playoff as of right now. Definitely can't make the playoffs though, as they got the experience for it. Just a question of how well can this team actually play. And at number 5, same thing for the San Jose Sharks. They lost Patrick Marleau though. How much is this gonna affect this chemistry team? Can guys like LeBanc can step up? I feel like we're gonna find out those answers pretty soon. Again, when you have Burns as a defensive machine, they can definitely make it to playoff. I just have them at number 5 right now. I look at the other 8 teams I have making the playoffs, and I think they're all better, if healthy, than San Jose. So I'm sorry if you're a diehard Sharks fan, but that's just how I feel. Now at number 6, 7, and the new team as Arizona, Vancouver, and Vegas. I don't think any of this team can actually play for 500. I know I'm being harsh, but I like what Arizona are doing. I like that forward court a lot. They just need to get experience in the next few years, and I actually like the rebuild in Arizona a lot. I mean, when you get guys like Domi, Keller, Strome, Dvorak, Perlini. I mean, oh, that's just nasty. That's nasty right there. In a few years, you're going to see how nasty this is going to be. And Vancouver, Vancouver is kind of a... I don't know what they're doing. I mean, the Sedins are not getting any younger. Their goalie situation is not very clear. I mean, Sam Gong is coming up. They signed some guys. I don't really know why, but I don't see this team making the playoffs, and I don't know how well they're going to play next year. And as for Vegas, again, this is an expansion team, a team with no chemistry at all, so this is really hard for me to not put them last. But again, so there you go. This is the final pick of the prediction of my 2017-2018 standings. Sorry if that was a long video. If you make it to the end, you're the real MVP right now. I just want to say thanks, and leave a like down below. May October arrive ASAP, and have the best of the day, guys. Take care.